We are currently in a spiritual evolution. We are moving up in our spiritual awareness and our spiritual beliefs. I often talk about years ago when I spoke before how people weren't ready to hear my message. They were too interested in the past life. They were too interested in the next spiritual aha moment. They wanted the big light and whistle show of spirituality. Now, when I talk to people, it's a very different experience. People are very much in the idea of, finding out what they believe through their feeling, what they believe, what feels true to them as they listen and they hear. What I also find very interesting is the people that I run into are all about how everything is much more simple, and was a big element in my past life regression, was how simple it all was. It was more simple than we possibly could make it, and this has been a process of evolution that's been going a long time. Right in the book of Leviticus, it says that you're allowed to own slaves from neighboring countries. It also says if you beat your slave and he dies, you're wrong. But if you beat your slave and they survive after a couple days, that's okay because they're your property. There's some pretty nasty things in the Bible. Women were not allowed to speak. They were supposed to be in submission, having anything to do with spirituality or the temple or prayer. They were supposed to be completely silent. There were so many different laws that were so archaic of the time that are in the Bible, and the people often argue that the Bible is infallible. Well, if the Bible is infallible, we'd be living under the rule of the Taliban or some of those very oppressive ideological sort of regimes. And I say ideological because I in no way ever want to discount Islam, because Islam means peace, and to be Muslim means you're a follower of peace. To do the things that are being done in the name of Islam is just like Hitler doing what he did in the name of Christianity. It's the same exact thing. It is someone who, with ill intent and bad ideology, hijacking a religion for their own purpose. But right now, I totally can see the shift. Right now I say to you, it's okay to beat your slave if he survives after a couple of days. And we're all like, woo. No, it's not. It's not. First of all, it's not okay to have a slave. And second of all, it's not okay to beat him. I say to you, it's okay for your women to be subjugated to sitting in the corner silent while you actually pray and you actually go on your spiritual journey. That's not acceptable in any way, shape, or form. We don't think that way anymore. And what I find most gratifying about what's happening right now is the change from just 15 years ago to right now. The change is so dramatic in where we are as a human species in regards to our enlightenment. Because if you would think about the word enlightenment just means there's two real meanings to enlightenment. One, to enlighten means to give knowledge, right? To enlighten means to become brighter in light, right? To enlighten also means to set down a load and simplify. To enlighten. And if you think about the enlightenment of man, it's all three of those things. You're setting down your load. You're getting the knowledge that is true to your heart. Let those who have eyes see and let those who have ears hear. That is a truth statement. What you see rings true to you. That is your truth. And of course, the final one being the enlightenment. We are all energy beings. We're all spiritual beings. And when you enlighten yourself, you actually are moving past the physical form and into the light being, more into that space of understanding and experiencing, your Holy Spirit self. And so I want everyone to take heart, because right now I absolutely 100% see the world shifting in a much more loving and positive way. I see the people who are against that railing and screaming and yelling and hollering and openly cheating and being seen openly cheating, because they've got no choice. Because the rest of us are saying, nope, you're done. They have to fight back, because the majority of us are transitioning into a better world. And it's, no matter what they say, it's in the numbers. Remember the old animation movie, A Bug's Life? The big moral lesson of that movie was that, one can do so much, but as a group, as a society, you can overcome any obstacle, any villain, as it were, any grasshopper. So we as a society are absolutely evolving into a new place. We are actually bringing the consciousness of Christ to life right now. And that consciousness is raising the vibration of humanity. And things like that we used to, the Bible talks about slavery and all that stuff, are unthinkable now. But even 15 years ago, everyone was looking for the aha moment. Now they're looking for truth. It's a very different animal. It's a very different experience. And it's absolute evidence that we're evolving. We are going to that next level. And guys, I know there are days where it seems hard. I know there are situations that make us think the world's going in the wrong direction. It is up to us as people who are evolving to stay focused on the positive. Because if we put our collective focus on the negative things that are happening, we're just perpetuating them. We're feeding them. But if we go, no, we're not doing that, we are doing this, and we get focused on positive change, people are always attracted to the positive. And the more positive we can make our world, the less likely these fearful people and these fearful things they're trying to achieve can happen. Because the more we show the positives, the more we show the open communication with people who disagree, and not get into the negative reactions, and stay into be an action hero, not a reaction zero. Focus on being actively loving in a time when the most fearful people are hating. Because if you're actively loving, they're not gonna like you for some things you say. But if you deliver your message to them like this is my belief, you can believe what you want. This is your choice. Spirituality is a personal journey. Or I believe that this is the most loving thing I can do. When people would say to me, "Are you a Democrat or a Republican?" I'd say I'm a one-issue voter, and they say, well, what's that? What's your one? I said, I have a son, and I want my son to inherit a loving, sustainable world. I want him to live. I want where people are free to love who they want, where everyone has an equal shot at success, and there's fresh air and clean water, and these are all the things I want for my son. So that is my son is my one issue. And if we can all just come to that conclusion right now. People say, are you Republican or Democrat? They're looking for you to drop yourself into the camp. If you don't give them the answer they want, and you give them the positive thing that you're gearing towards or aiming towards, they can't argue it. All they can do at that point is say, well, how are you going to pay for all that? I said, we'll pay for it. We always have. we will adjust things to make it work. But we have to do these things if we want to create the world that we're trying to create. And I want you to have the same world that I have. I want your children to have the same opportunities my children have. I want us all to come into it together. And they have a hard time arguing it. They can't come back at you. I'll give you another example. I had 2 standing dead trees out back behind my house. Now they were in a position that I knew that they were easy to fall, but I didn't want to pay a tree company to come in and cut these big giant ash trees down, because it was going to cost me thousands of dollars to have them cut down and hauled away. So I put an ad in Facebook Marketplace that said, "Free firewood, come cut them down, already dried." And 2 people came to my house, a mother and a son, and in the conversation, the mother very vehemently let it be known that she was a supporter of a right-wing agenda. Let me put it that way. And I turned to her and I said, we shouldn't talk politics because I want to like you. And we never spoke politics again. And she became, we had a great conversation. She brought me cookies. It was, we had a great relationship, because we didn't talk about the things that we had set ourselves in the various different opposing camps and decided that we won't listen to anybody who's from that camp. We just said, we're not going to talk about that. And because of that, we had a fine relationship. But that's the key, is you have to, pick and choose the battles that you can win and that you can pour light into and love into. Because there are certain ones you can't. There are certain ones who just won't listen. But if you come at them with love and care, and they start treating you loving and caring, over time, their fearful positions will wane, and they will become a much more loving person. And then, of course, they'll go, well, I really want to do loving things. I really want to, think about this and help the world and, fix our environment and all these things that he's talking about. Well, we should then talk to him about that and what's the deal. And I've seen a lot of people soften on their stances just by coming at them from an approach of, this is what I believe and this is what I want, and I'm focusing on the loving outcome. So focus on the loving outcome. Focus on loving them as well in the process. They're in fear. It makes no sense to give them something to be fearful for. Don't throw up an opposing view just to argue. It makes no sense. Just show them love without the argument, without the conflict, and you will see a drastic change in their outcome and their outlook. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.